Okay, so my name is Eliza Days, and I am going to be talking about the app WhatsApp today. So to get started, can I just get a feel for how many people have actually heard of WhatsApp before? Can you raise your hand? Okay, so how many people have it downloaded on their phone currently? Okay, so 3 out of almost everyone that raised their hand. So a lot of people are kind of familiar with the platform, especially as it's growing a lot, but we're going to be talking a lot about user demographics and things kind of later on, so we'll kind of just get into it. So for the introduction, what I'm going to be covering today is talking about the purpose of the app, its history, what its mission really is, some features that it has, the users and the demographic people that use it, some revenue and finance statistics, and then we'll go ahead and walk through it as well. So for its purpose, so it is a messaging app that was bought by Facebook, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But its purpose is to stay in touch with friends and family anytime and anywhere. So something that they really try to go off of is that it's a free app that you download. You just use the current number that you have in your SIM card, and you can use any of the features that it has for free. It doesn't have any ads in it, which is something that's also really good. And they did used to have a subscription model, so you would pay like $1 per month for it, but they found that that wasn't really working, and they have a lot more users now. So it is free, and it offers simple, secure, reliable messaging and calling, and it is available on phones and in countries all over the world. So some history about WhatsApp. It was launched in 2009 and founded by Jan Koum and Brian Acton, who had actually previously worked through Yahoo for a combined of 20 years. It started as an alternative to SMS, and then it kind of just grew from there. And like I said previously, Facebook bought it in 2014 for $19 billion. So now every time you open up the app, just like Instagram, it'll say WhatsApp and at the bottom from Facebook. So that's another thing that Facebook has just taken under its wing. And like I said, WhatsApp used to charge a $1 subscription fee, but its usage really kicked off since the subscription model was dropped back in 2016. So their mission statement for their company and their product is, behind every product decision is the desire to let people communicate anywhere in the world without barriers. And that's something that will show with their user demographics on how much it actually reflects their mission. So some features of the app, you're allowed to share your location, broadcast your status, share contacts within all of your other contacts, so just like iMessage features. You can customize wallpapers and notification alerts, and you can also, if you want to send a picture, you can either choose just like an iMessage to actually take a picture and send it, or choose a picture that you've already taken to send. You can simultaneously broadcast messages to multiple contacts, and then also those features for messaging and calling are all secured with end-to-end encryption. So no third party, including WhatsApp, can actually look at the content that you're sending and receiving from other people. So that's something that's kind of nice that even iMessage doesn't even offer. Some more features. You can video chat with up to 4 people, which is kind of nice because that's a feature that iPhones just actually unveiled, I don't know if it was update 11 or something like that. The iOS version has in-app support for video playback from both Instagram and Facebook. Again, since they were acquired from Facebook, they have a lot of compatible features. It's platform agnostic, so you don't have to own the same brand or device as someone that you're talking to in order to use the app, and it functions exactly the same across all the boards. The desktop app, users can only send and receive messages, so that's one of the kind of cons of the app, but it is really easy to set up on your desktop, which I'll show at the end. And again, even after 10 years of existence, they don't have any ads, and since it's free, that's something that's really nice, because a lot of times free versions have a lot of ads and they're constantly bombarding you with things, so it's really nice that you don't have to worry about that on their platform. So going into the user side, there are actually 500 million people who use WhatsApp daily, so that's a very large number, and what I found was a lot of those people aren't even in the United States. So more than 65 million text messages are sent through WhatsApp each day, and actually India has the largest number of WhatsApp users, which is at 400 million. So this is a graph that I found, that was talking about how they just reached 2 billion users this February. It was something that they updated like last week that they just realized. So I thought that was something that was really interesting. And they definitely are attributing that to how Facebook just acquired it and how it's just been constantly growing through there. And you can say there in February 14 where it says 465 million, which is in millions. So that's kind of confusing. So there's 2,000 million users, which is attributed to 2 billion. So it's really grown from when Facebook acquired them. And in the United States, WhatsApp only has 68.1 million users, so that's a lot smaller than the normal, the overall world use. Usage was most concentrated among Hispanic Americans, which is about 50%, so that was also an interesting statistic I found. And Black users follow at just over 1 in 5 people using the app as well in America, and white Americans are at 14%. So again, with their acquiring, after their launch, they've had a lot of growth, and they definitely are one of the higher messaging platforms out of any of the other ones. So according to Forbes, among US adults over the age of 18, there's 28% of males and 19% of females that use the app. The age kind of ranges, but it's usually younger adults that use it. And then that goes and breaks down like income status and then their geography. So more people in urban areas tend to use it more than rural. Most active times on WhatsApp for US users, most of the time is between 12 p.m. and like 12 a.m. So more in the afternoon, not as much in the morning. Obviously people throughout the world, it's different. It's going to change at different times, but whenever most people are up and at them, they're going to be using the app. And then this is broken down by geographic location. So the green is the most used platform, and it's WhatsApp for each country in the world. So you can see there's a lot of green there, and it is definitely the leader in that category. But then Facebook Messenger follows behind. So that kind of works out for Facebook since their top 2 platforms are the top 2 in the world, and you can see most of the colors there are green and blue. So their revenue and how they make revenue. So since they don't have any kind of charge for using the service, like how do you think that they're actually making money? So they have what's called WhatsApp Business, which I'm not going to get too much into because that's its own separate app. But what they do is they charge companies for slow replies. So how their app is set up is they can message actual companies that they're working with, and if they don't respond within 24 hours, then WhatsApp's going to charge that company to respond back to their customers. So it's kind of I guess it keeps productivity higher, and so they want to make sure that if you're going to be using their platform, you're going to have high response rates, and it's not going to make them look as bad as a messaging service. And again, if they reply within the first 24 hours, it's free, and then if they want to send a reply after that, they're going to get charged per message. And then they show that that's actually sufficient revenue to keep their app and its developers afloat. So obviously they're doing pretty well by doing that. So they're not going to charge people per using the app each year. So some of the cons of the app: you can only communicate with people who have the app. So you can't try to text someone who doesn't have it and only has iMessage or something. You have to make sure that they have the app downloaded and their number hooked up with it. Despite calls being free, it's also possible to rack up data charges. So that's usually just looking at like if you have 2 gigabytes of data per month and you go over that, your cell phone provider is going to call you. So WhatsApp isn't actually going to charge you, but you're still, could get some more money for that. You can't call emergency services or 911. So that's something that's kind of a downfall if you're somewhere and you don't have service, but you have the internet. You try to use WhatsApp to call 911, that wouldn't be possible. And then again, the desktop version does not allow any calling. You can just send messages through there. So does anyone have any questions so far regarding WhatsApp at all? No? Okay. So first of all, I have screenshots of the mobile version that I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to get on my desktop version on my laptop. So for the mobile version, it's pretty self-explanatory. So these are the chats that come up. You just have to make sure that that person, again, has the app downloaded. It comes up, you have these options at the bottom. You can set your status, You can choose to make a call, send a picture, or take a picture and send it, the chats, and then your settings. So for setting a status, I don't really do that because I used it a lot whenever I was in Europe. And a lot of the users and demographics are not in the United States, so a lot of my friends, they might have it if they've been abroad, but we don't use that as our primary source of messaging now. A lot of people that I have that are friends that live in Europe currently, my family is exchange student and his family. We all communicate with them through WhatsApp, so that's why I primarily have the app now. So I'll message them once in a while, seeing what's going on. A lot of my friends from there, that's all they use because it's free, so they don't have to pay for texting or calling. So that's one of the reasons I use it, but I don't get into setting a status because this doesn't really apply to me. Through the calls, again, you can't choose to dial a number. You can only go through one of your previous ones, or up in the corner, hit the plus call button, and then you can select one of your contacts to call, and then it'll prompt you if you want to call using video or voice. And then again, with the new call, that's what it comes up, and then you can either choose the phone or like the FaceTime option. And then just the settings, they have a lot of standard settings. If you want to go through your starred messages, so any kind of message that you favorited, it'll pull up all of those messages. So if you have things that might be important and you star it, you can go and filter through that way. You can choose whenever you get the desktop version, you'll choose that WhatsApp web/desktop, and a code or QR code will pop up on your desktop screen. You take a picture of that, and that's how it syncs. So whenever you download the desktop version, that's how you would set it up. Then they just have normal account settings, chat settings, your notifications, those type of settings. So right now I'm going to go into the desktop version.